In the Gospel of Luke, we read the words of Jesus. If your brother sins, rebuke him, and if he repents, forgive him. And if he sins against you 7 times in a day, and 7 times comes back to you and says, I repent, then forgive him. And the apostle said to the Lord, increase our faith. And Jesus replied, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mulberry tree, be uprooted and planted in the sea, and it will obey you. When the apostles heard what Jesus said, their response was, Lord, increase our faith. To forgive once, easy enough. But to forgive a person who sinned against you 7 times in one day, now come on, that's asking an awful lot. That's not easy. But Jesus responds to their request by saying to them, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mulberry tree, be uprooted and planted in the sea, and it'll obey you. Did you know that a mulberry tree had a lifespan of about 200 years? And it had a network of roots that went deep and wide into the ground. So it's not something that would be blown over easily in a storm. It's not something that would be easily uprooted. So what's the point that Jesus is making? Jesus is saying here that when God tells you to do something that seems impossible, in this case, to forgive a person repeatedly, you can do that with faith as small as a mustard seed. Because it's not about the size of your faith. It's about your faith in God, who will enable you to forgive the individual who has sinned against you repeatedly. And what seems impossible becomes possible when a small faith is placed in a big God. Let's broaden this here for a moment. You can do anything that God has called upon you to do. There's nothing that God has asked you to do that God will not enable you to do. There's not a sin that cannot be overcome. There's not a sinful habit or practice that cannot be broken. Your faith may be small, it may be weak, but keep this in mind. It's not about the size of your faith, because it's not faith in your faith. It's your small faith in a big God that makes things happen. Jesus says, without me, you can do nothing. The Apostle Paul says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So a small faith in a big God can do amazing things.